The Dangers of Apologetics, Rhetoric and Propaganda in Religion. Lessons from the Satanic Panic and Other Mass Hysterias. Welcome to Alpha Centauri, where we explore critical perspectives and connect them to religious concerns. Today we will take a glance at the dangers related to apologetics, rhetoric, and propaganda when mixed with religious belief. We will be using the Satanic Panic of the 1980s and 1990s as our point of reference today. The Satanic Panic was a moral panic or hysteria, mostly among Protestant evangelicals in the United States, which bled over to religious communities in Canada, Catholic communities in northern Mexico, and even to some evangelical groups in Australia. Characterized by widespread fear of satanic ritual abuse, while its focus was tabletop role-playing games and live-action role players, it also pushed against heavy metal music, horror movies, and subgroups such as glam rockers and goth. It also had a tinge of homophobia to it, an aspect of this hysteria which is rarely discussed or acknowledged. It emerged during a time of social and cultural change, with a rising clash between emerging subcultures and the influence of fundamentalist Christian groups. Sensationalist media coverage and popular apologetics at that time played significant roles in fueling this hysteria. According to Wiki and ChatGPT, the key events that led up to the Satanic Panic were the films Rosemary's Baby, 1968, The Exorcist, 1973, and The Omen, 1976, as well as horror movies like The Gate and other horror films, popcorn flicks, and B-movies. The second factor is going to be the Tate murders and the Manson family trials. A third factor is the best-selling book, The Satan Seller, by Mike Warnick, 1972. A fourth contributing factor is a book called Michelle Remembers from 1980, a book co-authored by psychiatrist Lawrence Pastor, which claimed to document Smith's recovered suppressed or repressed memories of hidden satanic abuse. A fifth factor contributing to the Satanic Panic was the McMartin preschool trial in 1983. The McMartin family were accused without evidence of bizarre ritualistic abuse at the preschool that they ran. The trial lasted 7 years, which helped fuel the panic, yet ended with no convictions. This led to the sixth factor contributing to the Satanic Panic, a daycare abuse hysteria, where many daycare centers across the U.S. were accused of satanic ritual abuse based on dubious testimony and suggestive interview techniques by prosecutors, investigators, both police and journalists, and unscrupulous therapists. A seventh, often forgotten, contributing factor was the album cover art and subject matter themes of 1980s and 1990s metal music. An eighth factor was the unethical and illogical law enforcement and social worker practices. Some police officers, social workers, and politicians, government officials, truly believed in the threat of organized satanic cults, and with the use of now debunked methods and tools, such as lie detector test and body language reading, legal and journalistic investigations were fueled. A ninth element is the sensationalism in journalism, the if it bleeds, it leads mentality, and the unethical quest for audience share with the money it brought in through advertiser capture destroyed lives. Impact and consequences. Legal repercussions. Many people were falsely accused, prosecuted, and wrongfully imprisoned based on coerced, fallacious, or unreliable testimonies and dubious or lack of evidence, aka the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence mentality, as can be seen in the HBO documentary series Paradise Lost and its subsequent series. Social and psychological effects. The panic caused significant and lingering fear and anxiety among parents and other communities, leading to lasting societal changes in behavior. the discrediting of the media and distrust of law enforcement. Over time, ironically, thanks to the continued public interest in these matters caused by the hysteria itself, psychologists, journalists, agents, officers, detectives, and even scholars were debunked, and many of the claims they made concerning the accused in these cases have been discredited, demonstrating that many of the allegations were often based on fear, hate, and the chase of fame and glory, the financial profit motive, and simple, faulty investigation methods as well as faulty reasoning, which led to confirmation bias, which in turn, as these wrongful convictions and persecutions continued, lessened the credibility of those who engaged and exploit such conditions and gullibility. The reason for the decline of the Satanic Panic is time and participation, or as some would say, awareness and education. But to put it simply, the kids who were playing these games, listening to these albums, and watching these movies grew up. And knowing these types of entertainment as part of their own childhood and teenage experience, these games, movies, and music became less scary. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, skepticism and critical analysis grew, leading to the collapse of high-profile cases and the overturning of wrongful convictions. The sensationalism of traditional media and their unethical practices began to be exposed by what was at that time labeled new media, with networks like HBO and then later with platforms such as YouTube exposing and highlighting the lack of evidence and the problematic nature of hysteria, groupthink, and the ironically cult-like power of evangelical apologists. The Satanic Panic is now a joke and cited as an example of moral panic and mass hysteria, illustrating the dangers of sensationalism and the importance of cynicism, skepticism, critical thinking, and evidence-based investigation. The role of apologetics, evangelicalism, and groupthink. Apologetics is supposed to be the having of a simple and ready defense of your faith in what you believe. But it has become a bastion and refuge for rhetoric, propaganda, and fallacies, such as emotional appeals, meant to sell you a product and meant to be advertisement with the goal of proselytizing in order to convince a hearer of the correctness of their own beliefs, or in order to convert the listener to the speaker's way of thinking. During the Satanic Panic, apologists for fundamentalist Christianity and Protestant evangelicalism amplified unfounded claims about Satanism, witchcraft, and their relations to the entertainment that these pastors and apologists disliked, leading to confirmation bias and moral certainty that discouraged questioning or dissent from the consensus of the day. Evangelicalism and their apologists played a significant role in spreading fear about supposed satanic activity. Evangelical leaders, preachers, televangelists, and prominent apologists viewed the panic as a tangible spiritual battle against evil. Their rhetoric intensified the hysteria, ruined lives, and destroyed families. As many people in my comments, and many who I have personally interviewed for my channel and other outlets have attested, evangelical media outlets amplified the panic by broadcasting warnings about satanic influence, reaching a wide audience and reinforcing the narrative. Influencers fueled fears well beyond their normal sphere of influence. Groupthink led to the suppression of critical thinking and the repression of questions that could have exposed the faulty reasoning at play. Communities experiencing groupthink uncritically accepted and spread the allegations of hidden and secret satanic rituals that could be brought to light through methods meant to stimulate repressed memories, which only reinforced unfounded fears and facilitated the spread of misinformation, rumors, and accusations. The human need to expound and add on to the story, as well as to pile on, led to disaster. Dungeons and Dragons, Vampire the Masquerade, and other RPG and LARP factors. The Satanic Panic also intersected with the world of gaming. Like GTA was villainized by politicians in the early 2000s, and gangster rap was villainized in the mid-1990s. In the 1980s and early 1990s, the big bad boogeyman under the bed and in the closet was Dungeons and Dragons, D&D. Critics claimed that D&D players were engaging in training and conditioning to participate in real satanic rituals by being lured into occultism by the creators of the game and their hidden secret agenda. This groundless conspiracy theory, combined with journalistic sensationalism in the media, led to many unfounded accusations and assertions linking gaming to mental health issues and violent behavior, claims we as a society are still fighting against today. Examples of the enduring systemic problem. 1. Social stigma. D&D and VTM players face social stigma and are many times viewed with suspicion by family and friends, teachers, and authorities. Anyone who has been bullied for wearing all black or carrying around a deck of fantasy cards can attest to this. Second, legal and educational responses. Some schools and libraries have banned D&D, VTM, and other RPGs and their associated books and entertainment media from their grounds, which has led to suspensions, detentions, the confiscation of private property without return, so thus loss, and instances of legal action against students, parents, game manufacturers, game designers. And although many of these instances are either dismissed or unsuccessful in their prosecutions, the legal fees are real, and the time and education lost during these proceedings are very real. Third, community response. The gaming community has defended its hobbies, emphasizing the benefits of gaming, such as creativity, problem solving, and social interaction. Research and learned experts, through legal testimony, have, thankfully, debunked hostile claims made by critics time and time again, thus far for now. This has resulted in an ever-growing gaming subculture, which is subversive and very distrusting of all authority figures. Fourth, anti-goth resentment and universal bullying, which expressed itself as panic and mass violence, as was seen in schools across America and other parts of the world after Columbine. So what can we learn from all this? For one, we can encourage critical thinking to help prevent similar moral panics. We can encourage individualism. People should be taught how to evaluate evidence and to question claims even when they come from trusted authorities, teaching them how to do proper research for themselves, to question all things and to hold on to only that which is true, prompting the examination of other viewpoints while minimizing bias, encouraging friendly, open dialogue between opposing and alternative viewpoints and clashing opinions, actively teaching and improving media literacy to help individuals recognize sensationalism and one-sided content, especially now in the time of streaming. The Satanic Panic illustrates how fear, misinformation, and groupthink can lead to widespread hysteria, and how apologetics, rhetoric, and propaganda can do real and lasting social harm. Understanding the interplay between apologetics and groupthink highlights the importance of fostering a culture of open inquiry and critical thinking. By learning from this history, we can better navigate future moral panics and hopefully avoid future social hysterias and the unfortunate legal consequences that come with them. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's continue the conversation in the comments down below. I do have a Patreon and I do have memberships on this channel. Any support you give this channel is greatly appreciated. And even just by watching this video all the way through, you have supported this video, and I appreciate that support. Thank you and have a great night. Peace.